everybody, and a very warm welcome to PSGL Season 33, round number 9, and we head to the home of the Iron Curtain here this evening. Hungary for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Max's first chance tonight to claim the title if he outscores Markados by more than 10 points. My name is Jess Bourne, and joining me once again in the commentary box, we've got Mr. Aidan Carter. Aidan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah, enjoying my lovely bank holiday weekend. Had a nice relaxing day on the Monday. I'm hoping everybody else that celebrates the bank holiday today is also having the same. So yeah, looking forward to tonight, getting into the very latter stages of the championship now. The season's coming to a close, and yeah, all eyes on Max really tonight to see if he can pull it off.
Yep, it is, and especially since it's a track where it's very, very hard to overtake, the tight and twisty nature as well. The SS bends were changed quite recently as well to obviously affect certain scenarios, and recently obviously it hosts a contract until 2026, like I believe Baku is quite recently as well. So it's a track that is here to stay, but there's certain drivers that like it, certain people that hate it. I like it as a track to drive. Not very, very keen on commentating on it, but we will see what happens tonight. Last week, though, we were at Mexico. It was a very good race to commentate on. In fact, we thought it was going to be quite boring, but actually it was very entertaining. We saw Markados take his first win of the season by 2.8 seconds. Make sure that he is still in the championship fight. Max finished in second place, couldn't quite get Markados in the end due to maybe not pushing enough potentially. Jensen, though, scored his second or third podium in a row. Jensen is on form tonight. He doesn't seem too confident about tonight, though, but the results are showing that Markados finally got the result that he wanted.
Yeah, finally did. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? I think he's had, in total 5 second-place finishes now. He's been so close on so many occasions to winning. It kind of reminds me of Grosjean in IndyCar at the moment. But yeah, he's had so many opportunities to win, and he's come so close on so many occasions and not been quite able to get it. But yeah, last time out in Mexico, managed to get the win on the border, which is a great confidence boost, especially because he'd come off a run of 3 rounds where he hadn't really had much pace and he hadn't been able to score good points, or had been involved in early race incidents as well. So he started off the season really well, had a bit of a dip in the mid part of the season. Hopefully this win will now bring back some momentum into his championship run.
Yes, and I think Markados just needs to not DNF, potentially get on the podium, which will help him secure to carry on with the championship fight with Max as well. And obviously with them being a different team, there could be some teammates in play that could help them, but they're not allowed to do that technically. It's only people in the same constructors are allowed to do that. That's what we were told from last season anyway. How that reflects that championship standings, 24 points is the gap between Max and Markados up front. So basically, like I was saying, if Max outscores Markados by 10 or 11 points, then he'll be crowned champion. Maximum points available after tonight will be 34 points. Obviously, you get 16 for a win, times 2, 32, plus 1 point for the fastest lap each week. So there we go. One of our crucial championship contenders, Tom, he's not here tonight, so I think he is not going to be in a championship fight after tonight unless Max and Markados have a little bit of a mare tonight, which may not happen, but we'll have to wait and see. And we got Kian in 4th, despite him being a reserve. Fabi still in 5th, consistent points for the last couple of rounds. Jensen getting a win in China and obviously a podium in Mexico. Giron in the top 10 as well. Stefano in 9th. He managed to get a penalty, a 5-second penalty, after his safety car escapades, which dropped him down to 8th in the results from last week. And Aurelian in 10th spot on 22 points as well. That is your drivers' standings. We'll look through the constructors' standings in just a moment. The drivers are on their way to start their laps. And don't forget, if you want to check out our sponsor, GT Omega, you can get 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout, or use the code !GT Omega in the chat. 17 drivers here tonight. Obviously, a few people not here due to spring break for some people, holidays. It's a popular time for holidays this time of year, so that's why a lot of people are not here tonight. But I have to say, apart from a few tracks on the calendar, I have to say Singapore maybe being one of them, this is one of those tracks where it's really crucial to get a good qualifying session more than anything.
Yeah, definitely is really, really important, isn't it? They always say that this track is the Monaco without the walls. It's very difficult to overtake around this circuit, although I think in modern Formula One, it's difficult to overtake anywhere at this point in modern Formula One standards. But yeah, it's an important track to get track position at. It's also important track to get the setup right, I think, especially for your tyre management. This track is so heavy on tyres, especially in terms of tyre temperature. It can be so hard on the front tyres that you can easily destroy your tyres within 3 or 4 laps, and it's really hard to recover from. So that is one thing these drivers are going to be having to look out for tonight beyond that. And of course, track limits. Another thing to talk about here at Budapest is track limits. They are a little bit of effect, especially turn number 4. Definitely going to be a hot spot tonight for a lot of drivers in terms of track limits. You see that often there. And turn 11 as well. That's very much a popular place to see drivers picking up those warnings. So we'll see if drivers can maintain that and keep a consistent run throughout the race as the first times coming in. And at the moment, Aurelian is the fastest on a 15.2. Not a bad lap there from the Alpine driver, but we would expect potentially drivers to dip into the 1 minute 14s by the end of this session, as we've got more drivers coming to the end of their runs. Markados, unfortunately, has invalidated his first run in the session, so he will not be going onto the top of the timesheets. But luckily for him, this track is so narrow, it's so short in terms of distance that he can go for 4 runs in this qualifying session if you do invalidate one of your runs. So it's not too bad of a circuit if that is the case for you, as I think Stefano's just crossed the line to go P2. Another driver who's had a solid few rounds recently is FER. Stefano was running up in the lead at one point last time out in Mexico. Didn't quite get the result he would have wanted, but still a solid result nonetheless from FER Stefano, and he's one to look forward to for the rest of the season. He seems to be benefiting from a lot of drivers having to focus on challenges at the moment.
Yes, challenges has been a big thing at the moment for a lot of drivers, because it used to be 1 round every month or so, every few weeks, but it's now 1 round pretty much every week so far, so they have to focus a little bit more. Obviously, some people wanted to focusing on that, hence the reason Kian is a reserve driver, not a full-time driver. But there's some people like the likes of Aurelian that wants to focus on both, which is fair enough. He's very keen to obviously get a little bit better at what he does as well, and it kind of benefits the ones that are not doing challenges at the moment. Obviously, Max being too young to compete in challenges, he's only 15, whereas there's certain drivers that have taken part in challenges, Markados being one of them as well, but still in the championship fight as well. It's important to concentrate on what it means most. I know obviously F1 esports is a massive thing, so we could expect attendance to be a bit lower as they get closer to the end, if they're very, very close to like the 6th place bubble in the championship, because I think the top 6, I believe, go to the pro exhibition. But here comes more Borat then, going through set to 2 then as well. A lot of people can run wide heading through here. We got to keep an eye on certain corners, because the stewards, I believe, have told the drivers that there's certain corners on this game that do not give warnings, so they'll have to keep an eye on that as well. And the pit entry is going to be monitored tonight. Drivers must keep to the right of the asphalted and painted area separating the track and the pit entry, and if you cross that area with a full tyre or more, it's not allowed. More Borak has backed off a bit, so he's going to go again by looks of things. And I'm just trying to see if they're keeping an eye on any track limit. Doesn't look like it at this moment in time, so we will keep an eye on that. But more Borat 129 too, so yeah, he does back off, because he's heading towards turn 2 as well, past that DRS zone as well. We did see him some great moves in F2 earlier around the outside of there, so it can be done as well. Going up the hill, heading towards turn number 4, the start of sector 2, 27.0 was his first sector, so looking pretty decent for him so far, as my telemetry currently shows random things at the moment on my screen with the telemetry tool, so I've got to update that whilst we go through this lap as well, as he uses a bit of that curve as well to gain a little bit of time as well. Usually if I do that with the assist I run, I usually spin, but it probably means that I'm probably not pushing a little bit too much, but again, we'll have to wait and see as he heads towards the final part of the lap. Sector 3, purple against the ones that are around him, so it's looking good for him so far in that McLaren, as he's got a final corner to go as well. Very, very tight and twisty, as I was saying earlier on. So when he goes up to the line, what can he do? 1:15.4 puts himself into P6.
Yeah, not a bad lap time there for Kazizel, but you could kind of see by the end of the lap he was struggling with the tyres a little bit of a snap of oversteer out of 11. Those tyres were getting very hot by the end of the lap, so but not a surprise to maybe see him lose a bit of time at the very end of the lap. We've got more drivers to the line. Rowan crosses the line and goes to the top of the timesheets by 0.03 of a second. Good lap there from the AlphaTauri, who's in need of a good run. He's had a really poor season, so unfortunately has run most DNFs of anybody so far this season. He's had a really rough go of it. He wants a good result on the board to round off his season. Got more drivers to the line. Fabi's the next one to come to the line, currently 10th for Mercedes, who managed to throw themselves back into manufacturer title race last time out with a first and a fourth place finish. He crosses the line, goes P3, 4 thousandths behind Aurelian. So the top three currently separated by 7 thousandths of a second, if it couldn't get any closer than that. We've got more drivers coming up to the line now as well. I think Jeroen was one of them, but he's starting a lap at the moment, is Jeroen. We've got more drivers as well. Max is on a lap. He's coming around the final corner now, our championship leader. So let's see what the championship leader can do as he heads through the final corner. A lot of understeer, loses the rear of the car. Well held to keep that out of the barriers, but again, another driver proving that it's really easy to overheat your tyres on a quali run, and Max there at the final corner, so much understeer at the front, and then had to catch the oversteer on the exit.
And I just realised I had my mic on mute. I was talking to myself for a few minutes and I realised my mic was on mute. Apologies about it. I hope you can still hear me, Aidan.
I can hear you back now there. Yeah, I lost all sound on my end as well completely. I think my Discord completely crashed on my side of things. So we're back. We're back going once again.
Yeah, I do apologise. I was hyping Marcos up because he went fastest for the 1:15.079. I'm not going to touch that mute button on my microphone ever again. So we both lost sound, but luckily we're all good. But Harry just about to start his lap with less ERS. I think he's done a stupid thing to use all his ERS on his outlap, which is not ideal as well. But as I was saying, I'm trying to remember what I said now. Marcos, he needed to be up there near the front, really, because he didn't want Max to be in front of him. As long as he's in front of Max, he stands one good chance of keeping his title fight alive. As Frankie, about to start his run as well, 16th. This race did not go very well last week. Pretty much DNF'd on the first lap. He got caught up in quite a few incidents as well. And he lost a bit of his front wing and rear wing as well. And he retired. It's just a shame, isn't it? Because there's been certain races this season like China. He got 3 points. He got 8 points in France. But didn't materialise in Mexico, unfortunately. But maybe this is the race where this is the last few races he's got to help his teammate. They're both in the same esports team as well, which is quite lucky. They've got to help each other for the constructors as well, because like we were saying earlier, Mercedes are catching 11 points. The gap between Mercedes and Alfa Romeo in the standings.
Yeah, there's definitely working back in Mercedes' favour a bit. Like I said earlier on, they kind of had a bit of a dip in the midpoint of the season, unfortunately, did Mercedes, but they're really back on the rise again, both of them. And obviously, Marquez getting his first win. Fabi with the fourth place last time out, a really solid drive from him as well. So, yeah, nice to see them working their way back in, making it more interesting in the front of the manufacturer's title as well. And yeah, Frankie's sophomore season really hasn't really gone to plan, has it? His first season in PSF1 last season was solid. He had some solid rounds, but it was definitely room to improve. But since then, it's just not gone his way, has it? There's just been kind of incidents and mistakes here and there. He's had some flashes of great performances, but he's never been on the same pace as his teammate, who came, of course, from F3 last season, has come straight into F1 and is leading the way. So, yeah, it's not been a great season, unfortunately, for Frankie, but he'll want a strong end to the season to help bring Alfa Romeo home, the manufacturers, as well as potentially the drivers for his teammate. Speaking of his teammate, Max gone through the first sector just a couple of hundredths faster than his personal best in the first sector, but it's still only a 0.1 in the first part of the lap. Not the fastest we've seen so far, but of course this is one of those tracks where you can save a little bit in the first part of the lap to make sure you're not making mistakes at the end. And of course we just saw Max make a mistake at the end of his previous run in the final sector because his tyres were too hot as he comes through the second sector split. Only 600s up though. That is not a good middle sector at all for Max at the moment. Currently on a 15.4, the bottom end of the timing sheets. We'll see if he can improve a lot in his final sector. He's going to have to find at least 3/10 though in this final sector to really challenge the front two rows of the grid as he comes around the final corner. Now does the Alfa Romeo, again a lot of understeer mid corner, comes to the line. Now does Max crosses the line, and it's only 12th for Max on the grid. He's got just enough time to do one more run in this session, but my oh my, Max has been so good in qualifying all season long. This is really out of character for Max.
Maybe the pressure is starting to sit in, really. Maybe he realised he could win it today, and maybe he's starting to get a little bit complacent, but you can't afford to become complacent, especially on a track like this. So Max really needs to step it up a little bit. I think in China was where we saw he really struggled with, obviously, his setup. He did get damage from a few other cars, which did not help matters, but because he didn't qualify that well, it didn't really help him in terms of the race. And we could see it here as well. And we did ask some of the drivers on whether qualifying was important. And Max even said himself that this is a track where qualifying counts the most this season. And he's down in 12th. So not living up to his name at the moment. And Mulbert thinks the same. The key to success will be qualifications. And he said even thousands will be important. And Stefano's saying, OP Stefano's saying the qualifying will be as important, more important than the race. Deso, who is racing tonight, qualifying is always crucial at this level. The gaps are always quite close in the qualifying. And we got Marquez saying, you can't overtake that easily here, which is why qualifying is extremely important. Stefano's saying a good qualifying could help you a lot because the track position is very important. Pretty much a lot of people think it's very important. I don't think many people think it's not. I think everyone is saying qualifying will be key for sure. No threat of rain for this qualifying session. We got Marquez that's going to start his lap very, very soon. A lot of drivers, though, were saying, I'm not sure if the stream caught what I said about the championship, but I'm going to say it again anyway. A lot of people, when I asked them, said that they think Max was going to win the championship this season, with a few people saying Marquez. I think there was one person that was saying it will be Max due to him making less mistakes compared to Marquez. But Marquez is hoping to prove them wrong. Well, he proved that people were wrong last week. Went a bit wide in the final corner, but we'll see what he could do. Well, he's definitely looking like he can close the gap to Max in this session. We have seen people turn it around before from being 24 points down to win the championship in the final race. So it's still an even playing field for the likes of Marquez and Max, as we're seeing a lot of people on their out laps at the moment. I think it's too early for us to predict on who's going to win. I'm just trying to see if Marquez has backed off. We'll see. He has backed off. Okay, so I think he's going to go again very, very shortly. Anyone else that's backed off? I think Rowan's about to start one as well. Yeah, Marquez has backed off. He's invalidated, I believe. So, yeah, that is a bit of a shame there as well. Only a few people setting personal best in every sector, which shows the track is very, very difficult as it is to get right, of course. But Rowan, who's had good qualifying sessions in the past, has not had good race pace sometimes as well. Got very unlucky, but maybe this is the race where he can turn things around, going up the hill, heading towards turn number 4. Let's see what his set to 1 time could be. He's not improving a lot at the moment, so unfortunately he's gonna, I think, lose a bit of time there to his nearest rivals. 35 seconds to go of this qualifying session as the timings are difficult to update at the moment, so we will see who else is improving. And on a lap we got, I believe, one of the McLarens, I think, on a lap as well. And we got Stefano, who's going towards the middle sector. He's not improving in the first sector. Hardly anyone is improving in the first sector. The only one who's improving in the first sector are Morbora, Kazizel and Deso, and they're quite close together in the 27 zeros. But we will watch Rowan coming towards the final corner then. He's found a few hum-ups in at the final sector, where Jensen goes fastest with a 1:15.070, 9 thousandths quicker than Marcos. He was purple in the first set. It's middle set, 26.594. Anyone else improving? Stefano goes 7th. He's purple in the final sector. We got, I think, Marcos, who's purple in the first sector. So he is improving quite a lot. Could he be the first driver to go into the 1:14? Volakonga goes 6th at the moment. Anyone else going across the line that we were going to see right now, as Frankie unfortunately has binned it. Matt is going towards the final set, but I think we have 2 of the Alpines. No, we don't have one of the Alpines. Aurelian's backed off, and so is Jerome. So it will be Max coming across the line to finish off his lap. We got his teammate Frankie as well, finishing his run. He's currently sitting in 16th spot. He's improving in both sectors. Deso goes fastest. What about Max? Only 12th fastest. Let's watch our championship protagonist, Marcos. He's currently sitting in 3rd, only staying 3rd. He did not improve in the middle sector. That's what costed him 67 thousandths, separating between himself and Deso. And it is Deso on pole position, unless Marlon could do any better. Nope, he's invalidated. So Deso, by around about 5/100ths of a second, is on pole position, and it was his middle sector that did it.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there from Deso. First pole of the season. What an unorthodox front row. I keep saying this every time this happens now. I've said this over the past 2 weeks. Where has this Jensen been for the past 3 seasons? Because this is a completely different Jensen than the one we've been used to since season 31 on this game. He's not enjoyed this game at all. He's made no secret of that. But he has been so competitive in the last 3 rounds. Obviously a podium last time out, a win the race before, and he's right on the front row here at Budapest as well. It's brilliant stuff there. Marcos is a bit of a shame. That was a massive first sector, 26.9 in the first sector. That is huge. But I think because he'd obviously started again, he ran out of ERS by the end of the lap, and all the way through the final sector, he had no ERS. So he kind of lost all of the time he gained in the first 2 sectors in the last sector.
Yes, I think that's what did it, unfortunately, for Marcos. But he still lines up 3rd with his main championship rival down in 13th, so he'll take that. So Deso, Jensen, Marcos, Aurelian, Nemanja, Kazizel, Volakongan, Rowan, Morborak, Stefano, your top 10. And then we got the rest: Jerome, Fabi, Max, Harry, Stefano, Frankie and Marlon, with only 17 drivers here tonight. Let's have a quick word from our title sponsor, GT Omega, before we head down to the race. Welcome back to PSGL PSF1, round number 9 of the season, and we head to the Hungaroring here this evening. It is a track, the home of the Iron Curtain, first used in Formula 1 back in 1986, and we saw some great moments here. Piquet overtaking Senna around the outside of turn 1 on opposite lock. Mansell clinched the championship back in 1992 with 5 races to spare. Damon Hill won his first race in 93. Button first win around here, 2006. Quite a lot of things that happened here. We'll have a quick look at the track. It is 4.384 kilometres long, 14 turns with 6 to the left and 8 to the right with a few DRS zones. to boot. So that is the track. We're about to get racing then. Who's going to win tonight? Will Max win the title? It's looking unlikely at the moment, but stranger things have happened. The 5 red lights are on here for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we are underway. It looks like Jensen has got a really good start over Desso, but it is Markados has got the best start out of anybody as they all make their way towards turn number 1. It looked like Jensen had the best reaction time, but Desso had a good getaway then as they make their way down the straight end towards turn 2. Namaya gaining up a few places as well. Where has Jensen been? He's down to 5th place. A bit of contact in the background as they try to go around the outside of each other, heading towards turn 3. Kazizzle trying to go down the inside. Oh, there's a spinner. Huge contact. Jensen's out the race on lap 1. We saw Frankie out the race on lap 1 before. Someone's just taken a break marker boards as well. And we got a VSC. Yes, last week it caused a safety car. This week, oh, now it is a safety car. Okay, so just like last week, we've got a safety car. Let's look at the tyres, actually. It gives us a chance to breathe. Everyone's on hard. This is the track. I'm trying to think how long these mediums last. They last 20 laps. I've got 2 mediums to their disposal. Will some people do what some people did last week and go on mediums?
There's definitely potential. We saw it, like you say, with Jensen last week. It worked out really well in Jensen's favour. I think the only problem is that you can't overtake on this track like you can in Mexico, and that is what made Jensen's strategy work. He was able to make overtakes on the medium compound tyres against other drivers on the hards. I don't think he can do the same thing here. I don't think other drivers can do the same thing. That was a really weird incident, by the way. That looked like that was just contact between Aurelian and Amaya through turn number 3. Aurelian spun around. Amaya ended up in the almost in the wall pretty much, and Jensen just complete aftermath there. Amaya's into the pit lane for a change of front wing. We've got Fabi in, Stefano in, Frankie's in as well. Frankie trying to overtake on the way into the pit lane. He's trying to copy what George Russell did in Baku over the weekend, but not quite able to get the move done. So yeah, brilliant. Like you said, it was a great reaction time from Jensen. He reacted to the lights really well, but as soon as he went into second gear, he just wheeled spin and went backwards. He just got a really, really bad second phase of the start and went backwards. Markados had a mega start from 3rd on the grid. He was almost past Desso into turn 1, but Desso had the grip around the outside to hold on to the lead coming out of the corner. He had the better run out of turn 1 and held on. So Desso holds on to the lead for the time being. Great start for Markados. Good start as well for Max. I was on board for Max at the start. He was kind of playing it safe, keeping out of the carnage. 4 drivers in front of him all crashed. He passed all 4 of them, so he's now back up into the points and into 9th.
Yes, there we go. I think it's just a shame for people that got caught up in that battle. I think there was a few people that had nowhere to go, unfortunately. It was just a shame for Jensen. We were talking good about him, about his qualifying session, and then he's in the warmer tyres. And, yeah, I think he wasn't that confident going into this race anyway, but what a shame as well. I swear it is with any driver that's on the up. After a few races of having good luck, we saw it with Tom. He had 2 races of good luck, and then he had bad luck last week. I think we're seeing the same with Jeds. We saw the same with Max as well. So no one seems to be consistent in this division, and that's what's causing, I think, a few of them to be lower down than they would have liked. But Max up to 9th. This could be his chance to do well. The ones who are on the medium tyres, they can go on to another set of mediums if they wanted to for their next stint, because obviously they used one of their mandatory compounds as well. We got Fabi obviously wanting to make a bit of ground on the softs already with Marlon and Frankie as well. Realistically, if they want to go on hards later on in the race as well, they can, even though they've done 1 lap on them. The heat cycle, I think, could be quite crucial as well, as Fabi and Marlon going into the pit. So I'm guessing they may want to go on to a set of hards again. Hards don't get to the end from here, but if they want to, fair enough. Namaya is in again. That is interesting. I don't know why. Again, probably same technique as I thought it was going to do. So Marlon's in, Fabi's in, Namaya's in. All going to be on hards, it looks like, unless you're Frankie, who's probably going to go for something different. That is weird that they're all pitting again, but again, they're taking advantage of the safety car. Yes, they're all on hard tyres. I doubt they're going to make it to the end. I doubt it, but you never know. It could last 27 laps, but there's no threat of rain according to my data, so that is a weird strategy from them, but I can see why they've done it.
Yeah, I can see why they've gone back onto the hard compound tyre. It is the preferred race tyre, but I don't really know why they would. At the back of the field, they're already old. I mean, they've not obviously not got a lot of laps on them in that sense. But like you said, they're not going to make it to the end of the race from here. Why not give yourself a pace advantage? If you're at the back of the field and you put yourself pretty much on the same strategy as everybody else, that you're not really going to gain the places here at Budapest. So why not put the medium compound tyres on and do 2 stops on the medium compound tyres and do something a little bit different. Because if everybody in front of you has got to pit again, and you've got to pit again anyway because of the tyre wear, put yourself on the better tyre. And that's exactly what OP Stefano has done. So he's stuck with the medium compound tyres. So he is stuck with that strategy. We'll see what he can do. He will be the one to kind of check as to how those medium tyres perform. Expect him to gain a few places early on this restart.
Safety car is in this lap. Deso is the Mylander in this situation as he controls the field through the final sector then. It is Monaco without the barriers for a reason. There could be some incidents there as well. Pretty much every race I've been involved in, whether it's been a commentator or a racer, there's always tended to be some carnage around Hungary. Hopefully we don't get any more, please, PSF1 drivers. As we did see someone, I think, overtake under safety car. And let's see what Desco do of this restart. He's trying to make sure nobody gets the toe. But we are underway then here in Hungary. And looks like one of the McLarens is trying to make a move on Ruin already. That is, I think, Stefano trying to make a move down the inside. And he does it with ease at the moment. Great job. But Ruin tries to get the switch back. Heading towards turn number 2 and 3 around the outside. They all go then. Let's hope there's no repeat to what we saw on the last couple of laps as well with Jensen. Stefano needs to make some ground on those mediums, but he's not doing so at the moment. So I think the ones staying on the hards were the best option. But you can see Markados has really gained a lot of ground on Odessa then as well. He's around about 2 tenths now, but I think DRS won't be activated till around about lap 6. So I think we will only see the true potential there so far. Frankie's still in 16th place, and they're just all in that train right now as well. But one advantage, they have saved a bit of fuel, they have saved a bit of ERS. They can charge a little bit if they want to as well. But yeah, Deso really holding his own up front. I was expecting him to really struggle out there, but to be honest, he's liking this track, and I'm all for it. I like to see underdog stories. I think we could have another underdog story in a row, but I'm not counting my chickens here. I'm not giving up my hope just yet.
You definitely don't. We've already had our underdog story this season. It would be strange to get a second one. But yeah, Deso out front doing a brilliant job. He's had a really rough season as Deso. It's not like he's struggled for pace all season long. He's been fast all season. He just hasn't got the results to go with it. Currently 17th in the championship. Got his best result of the season last time out in Mexico. Scored 6 points, but that's only 6 points to add to his total of 3 he got before that in the first 7 races. So yeah, really rough start to the season for Deso. It'd be a great way to end off his season if he can get a really good result tonight. But you've got to say, in these early phases, Markados is looking pretty ominous. He's looking fast in that Mercedes. He's right up behind the rear wing of that Haas, and I think the second he gets an opportunity to take the lead of this race, he will go for it and take the lead. He's only 3 tenths behind at the moment, so yeah, sticking very close at the moment. Another driver sticking close is Max, our championship leader. He is right up the rear wing of Euron at the moment, but can't seem to quite find a way through on the Alpine, stuck in that train. Stefano, by the way, on the medium compound tyres, managed to get past Harry, but that is as far as he's gone so far. He is stuck behind Aurelian at the moment for a spot inside the top 10, but as soon as DRS is enabled, I'm sure we'll see Stefano potentially start making moves. But yeah, you can see he's on the ERS, actually thinking about a move into turn number 12. This is unorthodox. He's going for the inside line. There's a little bit of contact between the pair of them. Aurelian is forced off the road a little bit, but Stefano is through. I'd say that's a fair enough move. Stefano down the inside, got the move done. A little bit of contact on the exit, but Stefano caught Aurelian a little bit napping there into turn 12. Unorthodox place to overtake, but when there's no DRS and you're in a DRS train, that is what you've got to do, and Stefano is now into the points.
Yes, it took a while to get the move done, but I think he was just being a very, very patient man as well. But I think we could see, I think one of the Williams trying to go side by side with Aurelian now as well. So I think Aurelian has been very, very unlucky these past couple of laps then, as well as Marlon trying to get a move down the inside of Harry as well. So it looked like it could be free wide very, very soon as well. It may be unorthodox, but they're on the hard tyres, and it may just be that they are past the warm-up phase and they're at the right temperature. Now, for these drivers, we've got to keep an eye, obviously, about the tyre pressure right now for these drivers. They might put it on too high, which I don't advise at this moment in time. By the way, Volokongan is up to 4th. Montbourg is up to 5th as well, so they've had a good race so far as well. Don't forget, Volokongan got a P2 in China just by staying out on those intermediate tyres as well. But Volokongan's pace around here is pretty good. So I want to see how Volokongan does for the rest of this race in terms of race pace compared to everybody else. Volokongan is around a 119.742 because it's a 119.741. So it's 1,000 separating both of them as well. So it looks like Volokongan and Kazidor are pretty much even on pace. Marcos is a tenth faster per lap on Deso, so it's not really that surprising due to the fact you can gain a bit on the DRS, and we'll see if he can gain a bit here as well as he heads towards turn number 2 and 3. All very, very tight on exit there as well. He's not going to try and go around the outside as well. We have seen people go for moves in turn number 4 in real life. Remember Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso back in 2021? That was a great battle to behold as well. And you can see Marcos and Volakongan trading fastest sectors. And now Max is as well. So we've got 3 people quite fast at this moment in time. I think there's one person that's struggling up there at the moment, around about 3 or 4 times faster than slower than everybody else is Frankie. He's lost a bit of time now, unfortunately. So he's that's why he's down in 15th, but obviously he's got a bit of front wing damage too as well. But all in all, it's a procession at the moment, but it seems to be the drivers near the back that are making all the moves at the moment. Max, on the other hand, struggling right now, but he's starting to pick up the pace a little bit with his fastest first sector, and he's setting personal best in every other sector as well. So I think he's probably going to wait pretty much until later on in this race to make a move as well. He has to make the move soon enough. He's a tenth quicker than Jerome.
Yeah, he's got to make the move soon. You've got to expect, especially with Stefano as well right behind. He's really pushing at the back of this train, but yeah, just kind of stuck a little bit at the moment. Can't really seem to go anywhere. Eurona's used up all of his ERS. Max is burning to try and get down the inside at turn number 1, but can't get past the Alpine, and they're both pretty low now on ERS at this point in the race, so they're kind of pushing quite hard here as Max again going to try and go for the move potentially at turn 2. Is going to go down the inside, but the braking zone's too short to really think about that move there. Jeroen's going to get the better momentum around the outside and will hold on. Is there a run potentially up towards turn 4 for the Alfa Romeo? He is right behind the Alpine, who was pretty slow in a straight line, but again, Max not able to get the move done and has to stick behind again for another lap potentially. So Max stuck in 9th at the moment, just getting a little bit detached potentially from the train in front. Jeroen is almost dropping DRS range to Rowan, who is also almost dropping DRS range to Stefano in front. So it is starting to split a little bit from kind of 7th back. It is starting to split a little bit. It has split as well for Aurelian. He dropped out of DRS range on that previous lap, so he is dropping away from the top 10 at the moment. He's trying desperately to get back within range at the moment in the Alpine, but not a great start to the race from the driver who qualified right at the front of the field, sadly, so not great for him. Meanwhile, second in the championship, Marcos just sitting behind Deso at the front of the field, not going for the move as of yet, not burning a lot of ERS. In fact, neither of our top 2 burning that much ERS, and neither is Kazizel once again. Kazizel doing a good job in P3, looking for retribution for what could have been a good result last time out for him, but here comes Marcos burning the ERS down the pit straight. Deso's not going to put up a fight this time around. Marcos down the inside line. This should be an easy move, and he will get a double dosing of DRS down the second straight. Marcos, nice and easy move. He is into the lead. Now, can he break away from this train, or will Deso latch onto the back of him now?
Yes, we'll keep an eye on his lap times, but you can see that Marcos was just very, very keen, and he was playing the patient game, and sometimes being patient is absolutely key in Hungary. Yellow flag, that is, I believe, Frankie that's had a bit of a spin. So that's not good news for Alfa Romeo right now for their constructors battle. So obviously we've got Marcos in P1, but we've got Fabi in 14th, so I think that's maybe a consolation prize for Alfa Romeo as well. But the fact is, you get more points for winning, obviously, than you do for ninth. So Mercedes definitely looking like in better shape in this race compared to Alfa Romeo as well. We'll look at positions gained as well from this race, so you can see who has gained the most out of everybody as well. I think the most has gained 5 places, Stefano, and obviously we got Aurelian who's down 7, who's had a horrific show at the moment. But don't forget, some of these guys, like we were saying earlier, are concentrating on challenges. And the next round for the PlayStation side is on Wednesday, as Marcos just sets the fastest lap with a 1:19.341. Desa's actually quite close pace-wise. Also in the... actually, no, he wasn't that lap. I thought he was. I swear it said a 1:19.3 for him as well, but it wasn't. It was a second slower. So he's already pulling away from Desa at the moment. As what's happened to Jerome and Stefano? There'll be...
Yeah. I think Stefano's... sorry to cut across you there. I think Stefano has just gone for the move on Max and is just driving into the side of Jeroen.
Oh!
And Marlon and Harry off the road there at turn number 2, going into turn number 3. That lets Fabi go through and pass. And Harry's crashed. Harry has crashed coming out of turn number 3. That is his race over and done with. And that is our second safety car of the race. When do you often see 2 safety cars in the PSGL F1 race? But Harry now out of the race. Now what do these drivers do? Because this is too early for the mediums, but do you know who this does help? OP Stefano. He can come back in for those hard compound tyres that he only did 1 lap on, and he can jump straight back onto those tyres and go to the end, I reckon, from here. So OP Stefano here is in a very good spot.
I think there's a lot of people that could be in a good spot as well, especially if they got either hard compounded tyres or tyres that could get to the end potentially as well. So we could see a lot of people going into the pitch. You might be right here. So we will see, I think, a flurry of cars potentially going in. Not good potentially if you started on the hards, but that's a gamble that you got to take at the moment. I've seen a lot of safety cars around here, so again, not that surprised. Usually I ask questions about safety cars in interview questions, and the week that I don't ask about safety cars, there is safety cars, so there we go. Maybe I should ask about safety cars next week. There's a flurry of cars coming in, Aidan, you are right. More Borak is in. We've also got, hold on, let me make this full screen so I can actually see this properly. So we've got more Borak, Volakonga, Stefano, Rowan, Max, Pirelli and Stefano, again, who's going on to the hards that he started the race on, which was predicted, and Frankie as well, who comes in. It's going to be tricky because the meters may not get to the end from here, but they may predict another safety car as, by the way, that double step from Alfa Romeo on the game didn't look too bad. He only lost, I think, half a second on that, but he's in last anyway, so not going to lose that much time anyway as well. But it's now Markados that is now behind the safety car instead of Deso as well. How is Marlon in 4? But pretty much, he's not pitted. Pretty much the only ones that are not pitted are the top 6. So Volakonga technically is your net race leader. Coming into this race, would you have predicted net Volakonga, more Borak, Stefano top 3?
Definitely wouldn't have, no. Of all the people that pitted, absolutely not. But this is an interesting one now, definitely from this point onwards, because technically the medium runners cannot get to the end of the race on this set of medium compound tyres. There is no way in hell they're getting these mediums to the end. But what they can do is if they've got another set of mediums, they can pit again. And if of course the top 3 have to pit again anyway in this race, they have to pit again in this race to make it to the end because they obviously haven't made a mandatory stop. So if the likes of Volakonga and Mubarak and Stefano can get to the leaders and past the likes of Markados, Deso and Kazizel, then they'll be ahead and pit again and still be ahead by the end of the pit stop phase. So good opportunity here for the likes of Volakonga, as Namaya's decided to come into the pit lane as well. He is bailed off of his hard compound tyres. He is into the pit lane. Not quite sure though for Namaya because he could potentially have stayed out, but yeah, he has decided to come into the pit lane. Yeah, it's not looking great if I'm the top 3 here. I think they were hoping for more people to stay out on the hard compound tyres. They haven't, and now they're kind of pinned into this strategy. So Markados' best hope here now is his teammate, and his teammate needs to hold back as many of these cars as he possibly can.
Well, to be honest, we know Fabi likes to be the Minister of Defence, and he always does very well when it comes to defending as well. He did very well in France as well. He took his first win. Markados let him win, to be honest. They were working together as a team, but I think Fabi's not going to mind that he's not going for the win. He's got his win of the season. They both got wins for the season, and I think Fabi will be concentrating to make sure Markados is scoring as much points as he possibly can as well. And NH Plays in the chat is saying they want to drive to the end. That's the reason to pit again. They have nothing to lose. Yeah, the ones near the back, definitely. They got nothing to lose, and if they need to pit again, fair enough. Stefano's definitely got nothing to lose, and if he can win this race from 13th to win, that could happen. We've seen it in China with Jensen. Could we see it with Stefano in 13th? It does depend on the tyre life, obviously, but I like that's what I like about these safety cars. It's a mixture of strategy, so at least we get that as well. And safety car is in this lap as well, so what can Markados do up front?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Markados could do. He's got to break away from this field now as much as he can. He can't afford to chill and lay back here. He's got a lot of medium runners chomping at the bit, and if they can get through these hard runners quickly, they'll be right on him, and Markados will be on the back foot once again, having to pit behind a bunch of medium runners. So hopefully for him, he can get up the road and get further away from this pack of cars.
Here we go then, we're about to get underway for the second safety car restart of the evening, the third actual start of the day, if you count the 5 red lights, as Markados, look at that restart was on fire, that was to perfection. everyone else was caught napping as well, because Izzle tried to go around the outside into turn number 1 then. And can he make it stick? Yes, he can, because Izzle up to second place. He is loving this restart as well. Fabi's having a good restart as well, trying to go down the inside of Marlon into towards turn 2 and 3 then. As they try to go up the hill, Marlon takes a very, very good line through here, and he keeps Fabi at bay at this moment in time. And what great battling between our front lot as well. Volakonga not making good headway at the moment, but we can see more Borak right on the gearbox of Volakonga. He could go on orthodox and try and go for a move that you weren't expect, but this double chicane can be very tricky indeed. But Kazizzle, what a great move, and Markados, what a restart.
Yeah, brilliant restart for Markados. 1.5 seconds up the road. That is a massive restart here for Markados. He's looking like he's about to set the fastest lap of the race as well on this restart. Looking great. And one thing to note as well, it's clouding over. It is starting to get dark overhead here in Budapest. I'm wondering whether there is some rain coming, and that is why we've seen some people in and some people stay out. As we've got Volakonga and Mo Barrett going side by side in the background there for P6, and the leader, the medium runners, Mo Barrett, trying to get down the inside now of Volakonga coming out of the final corner. And instead of going forwards, the medium runners are fighting each other. Here comes Mo Barrett down the inside. He's got a good run off the corner. Can he get the move done? Rowan's on the back of Stefano as well, going down into the hairpin. As down the inside goes Mubarak. He's so late on the brakes. He hits Fabi. He spins Fabi around. They make more contact. I think Max was caught up in that as well, potentially.
Yeah, he has.
He's on the inside. I don't know if he's picked up any damage, but he was off the road as well. Fabi, the innocent bystander. Mubarak going for a late, not a late move, but going for a late lunge down the inside. They're 3 wide, midway through turn number 2 at the moment. Yeah, but Mubarak going deep on the brakes, hitting into the back of Fabi. Fabi spun sideways, and he has now dropped to the back of the field. That is a disaster for Fabi's race. His race is pretty much over and done with, barring any more safety cars. Same for Mubarak as well. When did Max get away with that one? He did make slight contact. I don't think he's got any damage. We can't see anything visibly, but yeah, not ideal for Max at all there. And look how dark it's gotten all of a sudden. It is incredibly dark overhead now.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a similar situation to what we saw in F2 earlier on today. It started off quite sunny, it then went overcast, and we weren't even told about the weather. They weren't even told about the weather, and boom, it started raining. I don't know what the outcome of it was at the end, because obviously we had to go and watch this, but this is replica conditions to what we saw in F2 last week. Well, this week, which is very interesting as well. But DRS is enabled then for the drivers as Stefano's off. Stefano, he's in the pits. Okay.
Into the pit lane, yeah. I think that's for a front wing change, potentially. I think he may have been caught up in that incident as well. No, it's not. He's onto another set of medium compound tyres and no front wing change. That seems like a mistake from Stefano, unless he was meant to change the front wing and didn't, or whether he was meant to go onto a different compounded tyre. But Stefano is in, and he is now down to the back of the field, and he's retired. There you go. So he's retired from the race in the pit lane. That is why. So Stefano is out. We're down to 14 drivers, and still, the medium runners have not made any headway in this race really so far, have they? We've got Volakonga in P5, but he cannot seem to find a way past the hard runners. The hard runners are holding steady at the front of the field at the moment.
Yeah, they are. I have to say, Markados pulling off a really great gap, 1.8 seconds, which I have to say, he's continuing his momentum. He could get a second win in a row like we saw with Tom. I pray to God that doesn't mean that he crashes out in Jeddah next week, because I think that's the main tradition at the moment. Can he break the curse potentially next week when the third race that he does well? He does well, please, because otherwise we're never going to let him live it down, and it's going to be a weird thing that we're going to be talking about for absolutely ages right now. But I have to say, Kazizzle not doing too well to catch up to Markados, but doing very well to hold up to the gap to Desso. So maybe even if there is a safety car, if they can pull the gap, as Volakonga tries to get past his own teammate of Marlon. I have to say, Volakonga being a lot quicker than Marlon around this track, up to 4th place. Jerome having a similar battle with Frankie for the last points paying position. And don't forget, they made their mandatory stop, but may have to pit again as well. They may predict a late safety car as well to change things. They still have some softs left to use as well, potentially, if they haven't used all their softs for the remainder of this race. So Jerome up into 9th spot. Max in 8th as well. And we've got another yellow flag. That is... that's Stefano's AI car, isn't it? Still going on the track? That's weird.
Yeah, I think because he retired once he'd left his pit box rather than in his pit box, his AI is just continuing on. I think it should come into the pit lane again potentially and retire and disappear. But yeah, really bizarre, really weird to see the McLaren driving around on its own. But hey, it's a Codemasters game. I think we should kind of expect anything at this point. This kind of stuff happens. But yeah, we'll see what that AI card does as it comes back into the pit lane again. So it's back in. It's not going to affect the drivers in any way, which is good. But yeah, Volakonga now, next driver for him to go have a go at now is Desso. Desso seems to be struggling all of a sudden on these high compound tyres. Volakonga's got a great run off the corner. Desso, again, not fighting it. Here comes Volakonga up into third. Rowan as well is up to fifth, past Marlon in the background. So the medium runners are just starting now to make their move through the field. I don't know what has happened to Desso, but yeah, Desso's really struggling for pace all of a sudden. He's just fallen off a cliff, and Markados and Kazizel on the same tyres are driven away, and now the medium runners are starting to attack the Haas driver. So whether he's just overheated those tyres or whether he just isn't comfortable when the tyres get a little bit more worn, it's bizarre. He's just completely dropped away from the two hard runners in front.
Yep, he is, and I have to say, I think maybe it's because it might be the tyre pressure, it might be the tyre temp as well. It's so easy to keep it all the way to the right if you're running in time trial or whatever, but you do not want to run it high in the race, especially in these conditions, because you're going to end up spinning everywhere. And don't forget, these drivers run no assists. I think us two, run at least with a few assists, and even then sometimes it's hard with high tyre pressure, so sometimes could be sent to a spin. So imagine what it's like with no traction at all, no ABS to deal with as well, and they're going to be ended spinning up all over the place. So yeah, I think Desso is just unfortunately, his tyre temps are definitely not helping at the moment, and it looks like Rowan on those mediums looks like he can get past him too as well. Track temperature, by the way, 31 degrees Celsius, air temperature 24 degrees Celsius, and the delta between the tyres around about 7 temps difference between each of the tyres. As Volakonga gets ahead of, Volakonga stays in third place. Rowan gets past Desso, and I think Aurelian gets past Marlon. So these mediums are absolutely flying right now at the moment. Question is, it will be good now, but will it be good later towards the end of the race? We'll keep an eye on the tyre degradation towards the end as well, but we have seen stranger things have happened. Let me look going on board on screen to see if we can see any rain. Doesn't look like it at the moment, and it is getting darker, but no threat of rain. You never know, it could stay overcast until the end of this race and no rain at all. We have seen that. Well, we know in Hungary, once the rain comes down, it comes down hard.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's going to be weird to see this race completely overcast and not see any rain because of how quickly the overcast conditions have come in. They came in about 2 laps, and now it looks like it's a night race all of a sudden. It's so dark out there. But yeah, we're kind of entering the point now of the normal pit stop phase of the regular one-stop strategy for the hard runners. And there we go. Markados is in. Markados is into the pit lane. Just as I say that, he is in off of those hard compound tyres. I think that's a smart move for Markados. He wants to get in on those medium compound tyres to the end of the race before he is caught by any of the pack of medium runners behind. He wants to get in now, get on those mediums, get in some clean air, get some good laps in before he has to battle anybody on track. That is the smart move for Markados. The tyres won't be great at the end of the race, but he has so much clean air that he can push into now that it's just going to negate the loss of time that he'll get at the end of the race. I think you'll see Kazizel in at the end of this lap as well, and maybe Desso will probably pop in at the end of this lap. I think Marlon may extend a little bit further, but yeah, smart move there for Markados. He is in. He just now needs to hope that there is no safety car towards the end of this race, and we'll see what he can do. And now it's also a question of whether the medium runners stay out or whether they pit again. I'm of the mind that they've got to pit again. I know they did 3 laps under the safety car, but still, doing over 20 laps on a set of medium compound tyres is pretty much impossible around this track. And even if you do get to the end on percentage where the tyre fall off in pace here is huge. I mean, just look at Desso. Desso's hard tyres aren't even 20 laps old, and look at the pace fall off he's had in the last few laps. So the medium runners, if they can get to the end on percentage where their pace is going to be maybe 2 to 3 seconds off what they're doing at the moment. So it's a case of, are they able to balance out the pace over the rest of this stint and get to the end, or do they pit early, come in again for another set of mediums and push back through the field like some of the other medium runners are doing? As there we go. Desso's in, Kazizel's into the pit lane as well. Marlon stays out. So exactly as I predicted, the 2 hard runners that started on the hards are in, and Marlon stays out for another lap. I think Marlon potentially might be trying to go to the end of the race here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that potentially as well. I think they're taking the leaf out of China's books, it said, potentially as well. But it's Volakongan that still leads this race. Can he get to the end on those mediums? Remains to be seen. If he does, then fair play. Roland in second place, Aurelian in third, Jerome in fourth place as well. The mixture of strategies could mean a lot for these drivers, and it'll be interesting to see if Markados can make his way through the field on 1 lap newer tyres compared to his rivals. As Marlon has spun. Luckily the game did not reset to track there, because that was quite unlucky for Marlon. But he's now down to 11th, which pushes more Borak to the points paying position as well. So he's on 9 lap mediums, and he's still in the points, which is great to see. Don't forget Farby will still need to pit quite soon as well. He might have pitted, I think, in that first safety car. I think he might have done, actually. It's hard to tell on this game, as don't forget Stefano. Those halves can get to the end as well, but we'll see if he can push on to Farby. He's closing in as well, so that could be quite interesting as well. But let's watch Rowan as he try and close it in on Volakongan. He does have the DRS then, going through turn number 1, heading through turn 2 and 3. Can he make it stick? He's not going to make it stick. He's a bit too further back as Markados sets the fastest lap of this race. He is gaining a few tenths per lap pretty much on his rivals. It's now 2.2 seconds. He's absolutely flying. So it won't be that long before he catches up Marlon, I think, because Marlon will still need to box.
Yeah, that is a massive lap time. And just to show you kind of the pace drop-off already, Markados' lap time there, at 1 minute 17.8. That was 1.3 seconds faster than our race leader already. That is a massive lap time for Markados to put on the medium runners that have only put on these mediums for 10 laps. And that just goes to show, after 7 laps of hard running, 10 laps in total, already the mediums are over a second off their personal best pace, and Volakongan at the moment is still down. So yeah, the time is falling away from these medium runners, and Markados is absolutely flying on those fresh tyres. He's already to the back of Marlon and Mubarak. He'll be in their DRS range. Well, he is already in their DRS range. He's got to hope he can get past these two pretty quickly. Marlon should be pretty easy pickings on those old hard compound tyres. So once he's through on these two, he's got a little bit more of a gap again up to Stefano and Farby. So keep an eye out for those. We've also got to keep an eye out for Stefano, of course. He's going to the end on his hard compound tyres. They're only 11 laps old. He can definitely get to the end from there. We'll also see what Farby does. He may potentially want to go to the end of the race as well on his hard compound tyres. And speaking of Farby, he's going for the move on Max for the championship leader down towards turn number 1. Max defends the inside line. Farby's going to try the switch back on the exit of the corner. Can he get a good enough run down towards turn number 2 on the back of the Alfa Romeo? I don't quite think he can. Marlon and Mubarak are fighting in the background as well. They're going side by side in their battle for P10 at the moment. Farby couldn't quite get the move done. Mubarak did hold on against Marlon as well. Markados now right in the thick of this battle, but properly getting held up now behind the Red Bull. He's got to hope to try and get past Marlon as quickly as possible. He's got to run up to turn 4, but that is massively risky, and Marlon blocks it off. Marlon holds the place for the time being, but Markados now really getting held up in this traffic.
He can't afford to be behind these guys as well, because if Markados makes a mistake, that could be curtains for his championship as well, because don't forget, if Max outscores Markados by 11 points, then that's over. Max will be champion, and Max technically doesn't need to stop again as Marlon goes wide. It's a very risky move from Markados, but he gets it done. And that, I think, is a champion's move from Markados there as well. He's doing what he needs to do at the moment. My, oh my, that was incredible from Markados. He didn't care that someone had to pit again on 20-lap older hards. He's thinking to get to the end, but Markados is definitely looking like he's a quicker guy right now. His next target is more Borak, and he's going to be on this train for everybody else as well if he's not careful. Farby's done the same thing on Matt. He's got past him and he's up to 7, so he's looking very good for Mercedes. Markados down the inside in towards turn 1. He does do it, and the camera unfortunately cuts off a weird angle. More Borak tries to go on the attack mode on Markados, but to no avail unfortunately. But I have to say, Markados is on fire. He's second in the championship. He wants to make sure he can be clear, well, pretty much score more points than Max this week. He's definitely doing that at the moment. 117.8 was his best lap at the moment, compared to Max's 119.2. So he's 2 seconds quicker than Max, which I have to say is insane. So I wonder if Max is struggling compared to the likes of Markados right now. I think Markados is going to be on the back of them soon. as well. Stefano really needs to get past Max if he's not careful as well. I think Markados could be one of the favourites for the win, but he's got to get past 10 cars, and it's a track that is very difficult to overtake. So, yeah, but don't forget that the ones on 13 lap on moves, they may not get to the end. So the only one realistically that could get to the end is Stefano and Markados and the likes of Cazizzo and Desso, and Stefano gets past Max.
Yeah, Stefano up into 8th place now. Max's tyres really screaming enough. I don't know if Max has picked up any damage from that earlier incident between Mubarak and Fabi earlier on, or whether he is just struggling for pace. There's no visible damage I can see, and the car doesn't look like it's understeering heavily. It doesn't look like it's a really understeery car. He's just slow. He just hasn't got any pace today, and this is so unlike Max. Even when he's had a bad result, it's not because he's been slow, it's because there's been some sort of incident in the race that has caused him to drop to the back of the field. It's a really bizarre situation to see him struggling so much. This could potentially be the first time this season Max doesn't score any points, by the way. He's scored points in every single race so far this season, but at the moment it's looking more and more likely that he won't. He is dropping further and further away from this field. Markados is absolutely flying. He's going to be on the back of him in no time. Same with Cazizzo as well. Cazizzo got through Mubarak and Marlon much quicker than Markados did, so Cazizzo managed to get through that pack nice and quickly. They are marching their way forwards at the moment on those fresh medium compound tyres. Got to keep an eye on the race for the actual lead on the track, though, as well, because look at Rowan. Rowan is right on the back of Volokongan for the lead of this race. Volokongan starting to burn up his tyres a bit. Rowan's got some good straight line speed and DRS on the back of the Red Bull. Can he go to the inside line? He's going to try and go the long way around on the Red Bull. Can he hold it around the outside? He almost can, but not quite. On the exit of the corner, Rowan gets a better, doesn't quite get the run out of the corner, but Volokongan starting to struggle for pace in the lead of this race, and there's still 11 laps to go for these medium runners. They must be looking at that lap counter and be thinking, oh my gosh, what have I put myself in here? Because they are losing so much time. Max as well has dropped off the back of Fabi and Stefano now, has no DRS help, and Markados is already behind the Alfa Romeo.
According to my data, even though it's overcast at the moment, apparently we're not expecting any rain, which is a bit unorthodox, to be honest, even though it's quite overcast right now. But it is starting to get a bit lighter on the track. I think there's more sun trying to peek out as well as we get towards the end of the race. So maybe the game said it was raining, but it may not rain. And the weather setting is set to approximate. So maybe the ones who are on those mediums for 14 laps, they probably shoot themselves in the foot right now. But we have seen, we've seen Marlon. Remember, in Singapore, he had he nearly struggled to get those hards to the end, by pitting early, but he did, and he finished in second that day. So maybe Volokongan is following in Marlon's shoes at the moment, and we're liking this fight we're seeing at the moment. Meanwhile, Markados is taking a pick out of Max Verstappen's butt, and he's trying to get past all the drivers. Here are the two Chavinet protagonists trying to go for moves, potentially for P9 on the road, and here comes Markados down the inside of Max, and he has a brilliant pace advantage, but fair play to Max for defending right there. As Mubarak has out of the session, he's retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. He's had enough. He's had a poor race, unfortunately, for him, which is a shame after him being promoted mid-season. But since he has retired from the pit lane, we are going to carry on. No safety car, no rain. So what does that mean for the medium runners remains to be seen. Markados is now catching up to Stefano once again. What is he up to? He is... I think Markados may not win this race, but he could potentially get top 5. I think Fabi's going to play a good part in this to make sure Markados scores as many points as possible.
Yeah, he definitely is. And here's Cazizzo, by the way, on the move for Max as well, trying to knock Max out of the points here, as here comes Cazizzo down the inside. Max puts up far less of a fight against Cazizzo than he did against Markados, and Cazizzo's through back into the points. Max out of the points-paying positions in the Alfa Romeo. When have we seen that this season? We haven't. We haven't seen it all season long. Max is having a really torrid time of it tonight in Budapest. Markados continues his march forward. He's only a second behind Stefano and Fabi at the moment. Stefano thinking about a move potentially past Fabi. Problem here for Markados, he has got so much downforce on that car that car is not particularly fast in a straight line. He's also got no ERS. Stefano has 80%. So if Stefano wants to defend against Markados, he has got a lot more in his back pocket to use. So Markados here is going to have to think about making the overtake stick in an unorthodox place, or Fabi's going to have to help try and get Markados through here, because it's going to be difficult for Markados to get this move done. And the amount of times Markados has been held up and people have been defending against him, Cazizzo's closing the gap. Cazizzo was looking pretty fast in that McLaren just behind in 10th place. So these two starting to march their way forwards. I'm keeping my eye on as well on this battle at the top of the timesheets at the moment between Rowan and Volokonga. I'm also keeping an eye on their lap times. They are now in the mid-19s of the top two. Their lap times are really falling off the pace. They have got no pace at all. They're not far away from dipping into the 1 minute 20. So their lap times are falling off a cliff. But there's only 8 laps to go when we cross the line. So it's a case of they've got to nurse it to the end and hope they don't get a puncture, really, because Markados at the moment, I think, is being held up too much by the traffic to really make this strategy work.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight for Markados, but anything can happen in Formula 1, as Murray Walker would like to say, and it usually does. And Markados has really got to play the risk in what he did earlier on as well, as Markados again not going for it. I think Fabi are in a party together with Markados, so we can see what he's trying to do. And look at this, Fabi trying to do all he can to stop Stefano from keeping that position at the moment. This is great team play from both of them. Here comes Markados. He's trying to go around the right-hand side in towards turn number 4. Lovely teamwork for the Mercedes. We saw exactly similar moves being made in real life with the Aston Martins as well. I have to say, and look at that, Fabi's let Markados through because obviously Markados is going for a championship, Fabi is not. I have to say, this is good team play that I've seen in a long time in league racing, and it's definitely showing. And at the moment, it's all looking on course for Mercedes to do well in these constructors. They are down on 11 points to Alfa Romeo, but with the way it's going, if the medium tyres fall off at the edge of a cliff, Mercedes could be leading the constructors after tonight.
Yeah, they definitely could, and that, like you say, that is amazing team play from the two Mercedes. We've seen it so many times, haven't we, in other leagues and in other situations where you try and see the teams work together to manufacture a move against another driver, and it ends up in someone losing a bit of front wing or there being a crash, and that was perfectly executed from the two Mercedes drivers. No unfair driving from Fabi, really great defensive driving against Stefano. Look at Kazizel as well, trying to move on Stefano into turn 1. Really late dive down the inside. He can't quite get the power down on the exit, but has he got the run maybe around the outside of turn number 2? Stefano got more ERS to use in a straight line. Kazizel's got the grip though, the long way round the corner. Can he get the move done into turn 3? Yes, he can. Textbook move there from Kazizel round the outside of turn number 2. Lovely stuff. He's up into 9th. Fabi will be next to him. He's got to try and get into the top 8. Markados now has got to try and chase after Meyer and Frankie are the next two drivers he's got to chase, but 4-second gap, it's going to have to be a big march here to get up to the top 5. And I think realistically, without any punctures, I think 5th is kind of the best we can expect for Markados in this race. That safety car in the middle of the race really ruined his strategy.
Yeah, I think it's ruined a lot of people's strategies as well, for some people as well, and it may cost them on a lot of points. And Markados definitely reaping the rewards for some of these drivers, whereas Stefano and Max are not as well. Deso, his strategy has been ruined as well with that safety car. Marlon, by the way, still hasn't pitted, but he has made a mandatory stop. But if I was him, go for soft tyres and try and nick the fastest lap from certain drivers. And Volokonga still leading by 4 tenths per second. And I think Volokonga's liking this because the guys around him on the top 6 pretty much, on 19-lap-old mediums, the same as him. The only one that's on newer tyres is Markados. He's only in 7th, so he's looking like it could be a good chance for Volokonga to take this race victory, but Rowan is not giving up. Same with Meyer on Frankie as well, and Meyer's definitely got a pace advantage compared to his nearest rivals. So let's look at the timings once again to see the ones on those mediums. Still in the 1:19s. Markados in the 1-minute 18s. And is a second quicker than everybody else. That is showing how quick Markados is compared to everyone on old mediums. It's around a second difference. So Markados needs to get past ASAP, but surely he won't mind, because at the moment Max is not going to score any points. But the more points Markados get, the much better chance he has to close the gap even more next week. Markados is the driver on the momentum right now compared to Max, and Max has definitely got to be thinking, right, what do I need to do next week to potentially win this title fight, as Rowan has got even close to Volokonga once again. 4 laps to go, and we don't even know who's going to win this race. I think it's the first time in a while where we don't know who's going to win this race. This is like China all over again, but in the dry, as Max is in the pits.
Yeah, Max is in the pits. He's just got a 3-second penalty. He's in, I think, just to take the fastest lap off of Markados at this point in the race, just to make sure that he doesn't get that extra point. But yeah, no points on the board today for Max by the looks of things. what a horror show of a race he has had, unfortunately. Stefano, by the way, got the move on Fabi up into 9th place on those hard compound tyres, but the hards just not had the pace in the second half of this race in comparison to the medium runners. So, yeah, he's not been able to make that strategy work on those older hard compound tyres either. Yeah, we're forgetting the fact that nobody in the top 6 has won a race this season, and they're all fighting for the win at the moment. Volokongan currently leads this race. Rowan in second has had a horror show of a season. By the way, coming into tonight, Rowan is currently 21st in the standings. Wow. Rowan has only scored points at Bahrain. That is the only time Rowan has scored points this season. Every other race, apart from China, he is DNF'd from. Rowan has had a horror show of a season. 6 DNFs to his name out of 8 races, and he's now currently fighting for the win with Volokongan, who also hasn't won a race this season. And we've also got Aurelian in there, who also hasn't won a race this season. Aurelian started off the season with a podium at Spain and hasn't had a podium since. So it's a really interesting fight. That's Max. Max has had a spin on those soft compound tyres coming out of the pit lane. He's not hit anything. But yeah, just to cap off what's been a horrid race, unfortunately, for our championship leader. The only silver lining for him is that Marcados is not going to be winning this race by the looks of things, and not going to be massively closing in the gap. It's only going to be a small points gain at this point in the season for Marcados with 2 rounds to go. But Marcados is on the back now of Nemanja and Frankie in the battle for 5th, and you know Frankie is going to put up a fight to help his teammate out. But yeah, Marcados onto the back of them now. 4 laps to go, 3 laps when we next cross the line. He should realistically get 5th here. You would assume Frankie looking front. Massive snap of oversteer coming out of turn number 5. Just holds it. But these drivers that stayed out on these medium compound tyres that are 21 laps old, they are all over the road at the moment.
Yeah, they are. You can tell they're struggling for grip right now on these medium tyres, and I think that's given the ones on fresh mediums a chance to have a bit of a sniff or potentially a podium. As look at that. You can see Nemanja was struggling with a bit of oversteer, and with it send on the inside into the penultimate few corners, Marcados is up to 6th. Now, Frankie's not going to let Marcados have this that easy, because don't forget, Frankie is Max's teammate. So I expect Frankie to pull off a bit more of a challenge compared to Nemanja, but even Frankie is struggling on those mediums. But he's going to try and defend for his life here, and I would like to see some crazy moves for him. But Marcados try to go around the outside, a bit of contact as well, being pushed off the track. And I think Marcados has got this one in the bag, unless Frankie can defend for his life into turn number 3. Bit of contact, they're still going side by side. Go down the hill and then up again. Marcados is up to 5th. Now, he's got 3 laps to get, he's not got 3 laps. 5-second penalty for gaining 1 place. Where was that yellow flag? I don't get it.
Well, he's got it for going off the track at turn number 1, but I think he's, instead of giving that place back, I think he's going to fight that one in the steward's room, because Frankie went, obviously Marcados went the long way round on the fresher tyres. Frankie then lifted off the brake pedal and just drove Marcados off the road, basically, at turn 1. I think Marcados is going to argue that one in the steward's room. I think he thinks that was unfair defending there from Frankie, and he's going to try and get that 5-second penalty removed from the Alfa Romeo. We shall wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if it is removed, but yeah, that's not what he would have wanted at all, and that could potentially drop him back down. If I were Marcados, I wouldn't take the risk of a steward's report. He was side by side with Frankie anyway. Lift off, drop just behind the Alfa Romeo, and still have the inside line for turn 2 and the more grip. So I think it's a risk from Marcados, but I think he's hoping that a penalty comes of that. As Frankie now, you can tell his tyres are done. Here comes Kazizel now down the inside. He's going to get the move done. He's up into 6th place as well. One driver on that same strategy, though, that Desso hasn't been able to make the same progress. He's only just caught Falby now for the final spot in the top 10. So pole to 10th at the moment for Desso, not the race he would have wanted at all, unfortunately. As Marcados now is, within a second now with Jeroen. That's how much these drivers at the front of the field are struggling for pace. They are, Jeroen on that previous lap was 2.2 seconds slower than Marcados, and Marcados was overtaking 2 cars on the previous lap.
I think we could have punches potentially as well if they're not careful. Let me just check, actually, because I can see the tyre life of certain drivers. So Marcados being on 15 laps is on 55%. Jeroen is not telling me, because it's not... so Aurelian's on 77% on the rears. So Aurelian's going to be in puncher territory very soon. Rowan on 77% as well. Volokongan 71 as Marcados gets past Jeroen up to 4th place. So the one who is doing better on the tyres compared to anybody, well, apart from Marcados, of course, is Volokongan, and he's leading. Probably because there's not much pressure, because he's leading as well, so he doesn't have to push as much. And you can tell that everyone else is dropping back, and his tyre management is a lot better. He can afford to push when everybody else is pretty much conserving as well. all Volakonga needs to do is keep it on the road, and he's won this race.
Yeah, he's got one lap to go then, Volakongan. He's breaking away from Rowan now, but think about this. Volakongan only one podium this season to Volakongan's name. That was in China in that crazy race, but he's 12th in points. Rowan, no podium at all this season. Aurelian, only one podium to his name this season. What a... We say Budapest, you don't see a lot of overtakes or anything around this track, but this is the most bizarre finishing order I think we could have thought of tonight. This is so unorthodox for this race. It's been all over the place, and this is what alternate strategies and safety cars do to it. But yeah, Marcados came close, but no cigar, just too much traffic. He took too long to get through the early traffic, couldn't get the moves done, and obviously that 5-second penalty going to be looming over him. Without that, if he gets rid of that 5-second penalty, it will be a 4th place finish for Marcados, and crucially for him, even if he doesn't get that penalty removed, he'll still be in the points at the moment, currently in P7 I believe, and Max has no points to his name.
Yeah, so you'll still gain a lot on Max anyway, but for the last few rounds, we've had maiden race winners in this division. We're going to get another one here today. Volakongan takes his first win in PSF1 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Incredible stuff. Rowan gets his first podium in PSF1 as well. We have got a maiden victory, maiden podium series for 1 and 2. Aurelian takes his second podium of the season in 3rd. Jerome gets a good result in 4th. Marcados, by the way, only dropped to 6th, by the way. So, to be fair, will he want to get that penalty removed? I don't know, because he'll only lose a few places. Frankie in 7th, Stefano in 8th, Deso in 9th, and Fabi in 10th. But Volakongan, don't forget he was your F2 champion from last season. He had a very good result, like you were saying, in China, but this was on pure strategy and tyre management. That's what helped him on this race, and also he had the pace to do it. He was able to get past a few cars as well. Who would have thought he would have won this race? He did the best out of everybody today, and yeah, I am super proud of Volakongan. He's going to jump up quite a bit in the standing. He was on 21 points coming into this. He's going to be on 37. He's gonna be, I think, 1 point behind Kian. He's gonna be, I think, in the top. He's gonna be in the top 7 in the standings, which I have to say is quite remarkable. And I think James was just saying in the chat, it'll be unreal if Volakonga can pull this off, and he's improved in this game cycle. I agree. He's improved a lot just by being here in this season. He's learnt from the drivers around him. Didn't get his season off to a great of start, but I think since China, really, he's definitely improved.
Yeah, definitely has improved. It's starting to come along. He's another one where we've said this a lot in recent seasons, where F3 drivers seem to jump into F1 and do incredibly well. F2 drivers jump into F1 and seem to struggle out of the gates. We've seen it with the likes of Frankie. They've struggled from F2 going into F1. Volakongan has struggled a lot this season to really match the raw speed. He's had good racecraft. He's good wheel to wheel, but he's not had the raw speed to really challenge for points on a regular basis. But yeah, today, brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Obviously, the strategy had played into his hands, but he nailed the strategy, nailed the time management, held on to the lead, didn't crumble under pressure, did a brilliant job. And big shout out to Rowan as well. Huge result for that AlphaTauri driver who's had such a horrid season. He's not lacked for pace at all this season, has Rowan. He's had good pace all season. He just keeps DNFing, but he's finally managed to get a good result on the board in P2. Great stuff from him. And a delightful return to the podium as well for Aurelian. That is a much needed boost for him after a lull in the mid-season.
Yes, I think we've had some great underdog stories, and we're getting another one today. That's great to see from this league, isn't it? And great way to end this game cycle, really. So Volakonga, Rowan, Aurelian, Jerome, Cazidal, Marcados, Frankie, Stefano, Deso and Fabi, your top 10. Max, by the way, got the fastest lap to the death as well, so he stops to get the points from Marcados, which is always a good thing as well. But a lot of good driver of the days there, but I have to say Volakonga is definitely one of them.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them. I think Volakongan's obviously a big shout out for driver of the day. Obviously, Marcados as well. You can think of a driver of the day vote for Marcados as well, but unfortunately for him, obviously the strategy just didn't play into his favour at all. That he got really unlucky with the timing of that second safety car, and that put him on the back foot. Great recovery to forfeit 6th with that penalty. If he does get 4th back again with the removal of that penalty, and I expect that penalty to be removed, if he does get that place back, P4, that is the championship lead down to 16 points. So it is a race win between the top two in the championship. The championship is still wide open going into the final 2 rounds of the season. So yeah, I think if Marcados will definitely be putting a report in for that. Every point counts. He wants to be within that race win victory of Max next time out, especially if Max has another round like tonight where he underperforms, because that would be Marcados right back in the championship aren't going into the final round, and we do love to see a fight going into the final round of the season, don't we?
Yeah, we definitely do. I hope we get to see it in the final round. I can't remember what the final round is now because I think they changed it so many times. I think it's Brazil.
I think so. I think it is. I could double check for you, but I believe
it was Portugal, but I think they moved it. Or was it another season where it was Portugal?
All the seasons seem to be blending together.
Yeah. But I think most seasons it ends in pretty much all the seasons I'm commentating on this season. The final rounds at Brazil. Luckily, I'm able to attend this finale as well, which is very exciting. But do we have interviews? Can we be able to speak to some drivers?
Let's have a look. Nobody is currently in the waiting room at the moment. I don't know if anybody is joining us or not, but yeah, no one seems to be waiting for us at the moment. And I can confirm the final round of the championship is Brazil. Saudi Arabia is next week, and Brazil is the final round of the championship.
Yeah. Thank goodness, to be honest, Jeddah isn't the final round, because there's certain drivers that like it and certain drivers that hate it as well. But yeah, I have to say, this is good for Volokongan's confidence, and if that's a statement to say to Connor and Louis, I want to be in PSF1 next year, well, I think that result has definitely proven why he definitely deserves to be in PSF1 next year. And certain drivers that were near the bottom of the standings tonight and are still in the bottom of the standings after tonight, well, really need to step it up next week. And I have to say, Frankie being one of them, Marlon as well, Nemaya as well, struggling a little bit. I think Rowan probably will be... got a point to prove, but definitely his podium has probably put the case to them that he deserves PSF1. But it's a new game. They may struggle in the new game, and they might be put to F2 for all we know.
Yeah, for all we know, but it could completely change. And by the sounds of the rumours we're hearing about F1 23, we're kind of reverting back a little bit to kind of a 2020 kind of model where the cars were definitely a little bit easier to drive than they are this year. So that could definitely be something that plays into the favours of some and doesn't play into the favours of others. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how drivers do on the next game, of course. And we're getting into a pattern now, aren't we? The final 3 rounds of every season, we have drivers who don't have great seasons putting in a mega performance at the end of the season to solidify their spot in the top tier for the next season going forwards. We keep seeing it, don't we? We saw it, obviously. We've seen it with Marcados a couple of seasons ago where he was struggling and then put in a good performance, and we've had it with Jensen this year. He's been struggling for so long and then he's put in 2 really good performances back to back. Rowan's been struggling all season. He's put in a really good performance. Volokongan's lacked pace all of the season. He's now won a race. So it just keeps going up and down. People can't seem to make their minds up as to whether they're struggling or whether they've got good pace. So yeah, a lot of drivers in that race making a stake for a claim to stay in the top tier going forwards.
Fun fact, we've had 4 winners out of the last 4 races, which I have to say is pretty incredible. The only winners that have been before that were obviously Max and Farby as well, and I believe Tom as well has won 2 as well. So it was Max that won in Baku, it was Jensen that won in China, it was Marcos that won last week, and now it's Volokonga that wins this week as well. Can we get a 5th winner in Jeddah? Remains to be seen. Can we have our final call? Do we have our final call for interviews? Because if not, we can end the stream there.
We do. We have Aurelian and Volokongan waiting for us, so our 3rd and first place finishers. So yes, we can get started with some interviews.
Oh, that's perfect. Look, we were dragging it. You see, we were dragging it to make sure people would come in. We know they wanted to come in, but we may as well get Aurelian in the box. So we'll drag him in. Congratulations, if you can hear us, of course. Your first podium since round number 1. It's nice to have you in the box again after so long. How did you feel about that race? Hello, can you hear us?
Hello. Yeah, first podium since...
Well, I think Aurelian... Yeah, we can hear you again. I was just saying you keep
cutting off. You keep cutting off.
Hello.
I think he can't hear us. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I don't think Aurelian. No.
I think whilst we wait for Aurelian to sort his technical issues, we may as well get, hopefully, fingers crossed, we could get our race winner in this commentary box. Volokongan, your first podium came in China, and now you got your first victory in the drives as well. Massive congratulations. Were you a bit worried that your tyres weren't going to make it to the end? You must have been, I think, very nervous before that final lap.
Oh, well, thank you very much. First of all, my English is very bad, but I will do my best. Yeah, I wasn't very nervous. I didn't look at it so much during the race. I was just driving and hoping for the best.
That is, I think, a good answer. What was your reaction when you won the race? Because I don't think you won in PSGL for a while.
Oh, I was very happy. Not much more to say than that.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that reaction if you got a reaction, to be honest. I always like to hear those reactions as well. Obviously, there was... I'll try and make it as clear as possible, because obviously your English is not very good. You had 2 safety cars. Why was your decision... No, sorry. I'll get my words twisted again. Why did you decide to go on those medium tyres under that second safety car?
I was a bit surprised that not the top 3 did it. I thought it was a quite obvious call. So, yeah, I didn't think twice. I just pitted and, was a bit surprised that not everyone did it. But I guess I'm happy that they didn't.
Maybe I think people should try it in other leagues as well. I'm gutted I don't have a Hungary race coming up, because I would have tried it myself. But I think looking at your tyre wear, I think it was definitely a lot better compared to the drivers around you, which is probably why you were pulling away. You saw Rowan behind you. Were you worried that he could have got past you?
Yeah, a little bit. And also Rowan, I think, was behind me. I thought both of them were quicker than me. At the start of the medium stint, at least. But maybe my tires was a bit better at the end, and then I managed to keep the gap.
Yeah, potentially as well. And obviously, since you had that podium in Singapore as well, your season, it took a while for you to get used to. But now I feel like you're starting to improve in this game cycle. We've seen drivers who have got their first wins in PSGL F1 this season go on to do really incredible things during the season, either get another win or get another podium. Is another podium in sight for you this season? Because we've got Jeddah and Brazil to go. You think you could get a podium before the season ends?
Not really. I'm not one of the fastest on this grid, but with some luck, maybe. I don't know. We'll do my best.
Yeah, I like that attitude, to be honest. Aidan, do you have any questions?
Well, congratulations, Volokongren, on your first win of the season. I think the only question from me, I guess, you seem to be a lot better at tyre wear than everybody else around you. A lot of drivers around you struggled a lot with their tyres at the end. What is it, do you think, that... What is it about your driving style that you think makes your tyre wear less of an issue than other drivers, do you think?
Oh, good question. I don't really know. I'm just trying to, I just have some focus and not try to spin up my rear tires. It's just that have solid traction out of the corners, and it's just that.
Yeah, and then of course the final 2 rounds, like Jess mentioned, Jeddah and Brazil for the final 2 rounds. Obviously, you've mentioned they're not. Maybe a podium's not on the cards there, but which of the final 2 rounds do you think is your best track?
They're both okay for me. Maybe Jeddah, but it will be fun.
Yeah, definitely will be a fun way to end the season. But yeah, congratulations on your first win in PSF1.
Thank you very much.
We'll let you go and celebrate. Well done. We're going to try and get Aurelian back into the commentary box, because I think his sound is fixed now. So, he's gone.
Just as we say that, I think he heard us.
I just dragged him in and he's gone. Aurelian, if you are listening to this, can you join back the waiting room, please, as well? I think it's going to be hard for us to drag this on even more, I think, as well. But hopefully we can get it fixed, or maybe he's gone offline or something. I don't know as well. But it was nice to speak to Volokongren for the first time as well. And I think it's proved that you don't have to be in the top division for so long to win races. If you have the natural talent and if you can pull off the right strategy, maybe sometimes that's enough. And hopefully we can get Aurelian in. There we go. Aurelian, can you hear us? I think the answer to that is no. Can you hear us? Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. It doesn't look like he can hear us, unfortunately, and we can't hear him. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to call it a night, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. And we can get Aurelian's, I think, thoughts maybe under text message. We'll try it one more time. Maybe we should go. Oh no, we can't join the rating links, otherwise we'll mess up my cameras on Discord. So we'll try one more. We'll try one more time for the final time. Aurelian, can you hear us? No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think, Aurelian, if you're listening, just show us your thoughts on tax, and maybe I could put it into a tweet or something a little bit later on. But it's a bit of a shame we don't get to hear from him. But I'd like to say congratulations, Aurelian, on your 3rd place. But we're going to wrap it up. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be around next week. I'll be back around Brazil, and I'm away on holiday next week. So I get to miss Jeddah, which I'm very, very sad about because I like Jeddah. But Jeddah's always a good track in PSGL. It's always a great track to commentate on. And I think we could expect a lot of action. I think a lot of DRS chicken next week.
Yeah, a lot of DRS chicken. I was going to say that's going to be one of the big things, isn't it? You get to see a lot of DRS chicken at Jeddah. It's definitely an interesting track. It's becoming a favourite amongst drivers, not for the location, of course, but for the circuit itself. It's a very unique circuit in terms of its. Obviously, we have a lot of street circuits in Formula 1 nowadays, but it definitely provides a unique challenge in terms of street circuits with its snaking nature and its incredibly high speed. It's definitely a driver's circuit. It's one of those circuits where you're potentially going to see bigger gaps in the field. Obviously, 27 corners, you're going to see bigger gaps in the field, but it's definitely a driver's circuit. You see drivers tend to either love or hate this circuit. I'm one of the drivers. Well, I say one of the drivers. I don't drive this game anymore, but I'm one of the people that loves driving this circuit. It is a good circuit to drive on. So yeah, we could potentially see again a different order next time out. And I think next time out, crucial for Max and Marquez next week as to which one of them comes out on top. I think with the gap potentially being 16 points going into next week, Marquez has to beat Max next week to stand a chance of winning the title in Brazil. So it's all on Marquez next time out to see if he can keep the championship alive.
Well, for my sake, I hope he doesn't. I hope Max doesn't win next week, so I could commentate on the championship finale in Brazil. But if not, at least we still get to witness it next week, hopefully. And yeah, we'll try and obviously get someone lined up to replace me next week. But for myself and Aiden, thank you for watching. Make sure you check out our sponsors as usual, GT Omega. 5% off GT Omega products by using the code PSGL in checkout or using the command !GT Omega. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at PremierSimGL, also on Instagram with the same. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well if you haven't already. Like this video and hit that bell if you want to see more of our content. Next races are at Jeddah on Thursday evening with the PC tiers, so you can watch them at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. But we're going to head off now. Have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed your bank holiday today as well. We certainly did with some PSGL action. Take care, stay safe, and have a good evening, everybody. Goodbye.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.